The 2025 NFL Draft is in the books. And we've got our report cards. We've got our clipboards. We got grades. Winners and losers way too soon, but we got to do it anyway. Recapping the 2025 NFL Draft. How did the Commanders do? How did the Ravens do? How did the AFC North, NFC East? How did the Titans do at pick number 1? And why the hell did Shedeur Sanders fall to the 5th round? We're going to talk all about it. Who do we like? Go over all the picks for the teams that you support here on the Flex Zone Podcast. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. It's Sundays with Crevonte. Your Sundays have never been better. Sunday Fun Day on the Flex Zone. Let's get to it. Talking NFL Draft. Just like that, we are back. I know you missed us. Another Sunday, and another Sunday with no one else than the number 1 pick of the Flex Zone, the co-founder, the Commandalorian, the captain of the Goofy ship, the one and only Crevonte, baby.
Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Commanders. We fight for RDC.
Stupid. Just stupid. Well, now that's goofy. Jam. Oh, jam.
Crevonte, the 2025 NFL Draft is in the books. Seems like we wait all year for these moments, these 3 days. Now on primetime on Thursday, Friday night in primetime, and then Saturday afternoon into the early evening. Man, when you hear that sound, you can never hear it enough. But all the work we put in, and then just like that, it's over with.
It's over.
How you feeling?
Man, I'm all right. I'm good, man. We spent months on this, man. We spent months pretty much for 3 days. A total of maybe 12 hours, maybe a day's worth of time. But it was fun, and I definitely do it all over again. And also, I'm actually proud of our local teams. I think both of them, I think the Ravens and the Commanders did very well with the draft. And well, the Ravens always do well. You know what I'm saying? It was the Commanders that was in a different spot, being, 29th. So that was unfamiliar territory. But I think they did well for their first year picking in the back 4. And hopefully this is something we'll see in the near future. Near and distant future.
Yes, Brandon Shedeur has been drafted. He is no longer on the board. So yes, Shedeur has been drafted. So ring the alarm. He has been drafted. We are going to talk all about that as well. Crevonte, just your thoughts on the draft because we're going to start with Shedeur, because I do want to get into Shore, and we'll just kind of go into the Browns draft because they pretty much shook the room, as I like to say, Crevonte, because nobody And I mean, nobody saw that trade coming with them and Jacksonville early on night one on that Thursday. Crevonte, how did you feel about this draft? The 3 days, you like the format? Green Bay was fantastic. They showed out. I believe they had over 200 plus thousand people there. Next year it's in Pittsburgh. So taking a draft on the road over the past few years has been big business for the NFL. Nobody does big business. Nobody does events. We talk about wrestling like WWE. They put on spectacles and make a lot of money. Nobody does it like the NFL. And they even had WWE superstars announcing draft picks for Vontae, celebrities, international fans, musicians, entertain the celebrities. They bought out Lil Wayne in the first group of people. I mean, it's just a spectacle like no other.
Well, Green Bay, they was going to show out because that's Title Town. So, they wasn't coming. They ain't come to play. You know what I'm saying? They definitely did not come to play. And the NFL, like you said, when it comes to big business, making money, doing an event, whether it's 1 day Super Bowl or 3 days like the draft, the NFL is going to find a way to do it. And they're going to find a way to partner with whoever they got to partner to make it the biggest event that is. And I think them going on the road was probably one of the better ideas that the NFL has had, because they could possibly do this in all major cities. It is absolutely a possibility. As far as the draft, we talked before about this draft maybe not having the most talent, at least on the beginning portion, the top, not being really top heavy at all. Maybe only 10 to 15 players really having true first round grades. But I think I don't think this draft will go down as like the 2013 draft. I don't think they'll be that bad. But I think there's a lot of guys who can make names for themselves that I think when we come back, like maybe when we come back a couple years from now, we look over this draft is like, what, this draft was not as bad as it was projected to be. But obviously, the Browns was actually a part of two crazy events in this draft. First of all, the Browns have never done anything right, pretty much, when it comes to the draft outside of Myles Garrett and Joe Thomas. But this was one time where I was like, damn, I think just off of that, the Browns won the first round because my gosh, they fleeced the Jacksonville Jaguars. My gosh, they did. And they were still able to pick the guy who I thought was going 5th at 5. So I thought just off the trade and off the value, the Browns were definitely one of the winners, if not the winner of the first round. And then, the Browns turned to the Browns by being goofy in day 3, picking two quarterbacks. So yeah, it's one of those things. The Browns are, I guess, going to always be the Browns. I think that's what Raj said in our chat. The Browns are just going, the Browns and the Jets. But I told you, Byron, the Jets were not goofy, at least in the first round. Picking, I said they would go lineman, offensive lineman, or tight end, and they went lineman. And so now I think they're finally learning the proper way, I guess, to build through the draft. So the Jets wasn't as goofy as they usually are, but the Browns probably evened themselves out with their first pick. I mean, with their first situation, then the last situation.
That's why we call them the Cleveland Clowns, ladies and gentlemen, because they always do something goofy, as Crevonte likes to say. Let us get into the numbers. If you're new here, I see you on X. I see you on YouTube. If you're on X, come on over to YouTube, type in the Flex Zone Podcast, hit the subscribe button, give it a nice strip sack, and go ahead and hit stick and tackle that thumbs up and hit the bell to know when all of our content drops. Got a lot of draft profiles, over 30-something profiles. We were live for night 1 of the draft, live for night 2 of the draft, and we've even had a preview leading up. I gave you options for the Ravens at 27, so we got a lot of content with the draft. But let's look at the numbers, Crevonte. In the first round, let's play a little game here. How many players in the SEC were drafted? How many players do you think?
Oof. 32 picks. We say just the first round?
Yeah, we're just going first round because I got the overall number, but I got some numbers leading up to it.
I'll say SEC. Let's go half. So let's go 16.
So you were one off with 15, Crevonte. Total of 79. the most from one conference in draft history. But listen to this, everybody, and Crevonte, of course. So there are 32 picks in the first round, as we all know. 15 were from the SEC.
Oof.
The next 10, Crevonte, you know this conference very well, the reigning defending national champions. The Ohio State reside there, Maryland, other teams, Michigan, we know. The next 10 were from the Big Ten. So excuse me, 11. 11 from the Big Ten. So 15 from the SEC, 11 from the Big Ten. So 26 of the 32 first-round picks were from either the SEC or the Big Ten. And 31 out of the 32 picks, Crevonte, were big schools. The only one who was not was our boy Gray Zabel, went to Seattle with the 18th pick, North Dakota State. So the only non-D1 level school was Gray Zabel. So that goes to show you this NIL money, the recruiting dollars that are being spent. It's heavy in the SEC, as you already know, but in the Big Ten as well. 26 out of 32 in the first round, either SEC or Big Ten. Crevonte, how you feel about that?
That's about right. That sounds about right. And with this NIL going on, it has tipped the scales with the the bigger schools, because naturally they have more money to give out to their players, and it shows in who the champion is. It shows in who it gets drafted in the first round, just because there's more eyes, more TV money, bigger schools, bigger programs, better foundation, things like that. So not surprised at all. And just one off, and again, Byron did not ask me beforehand. That was just that's just a natural number. Like, if you give me 30, I'm be like at least half. it's gonna be at least half. So being one off is not bad at all.
And like I said, all those D1 level schools is crazy, Crevonte. How about this? Just as we always get enamored with the first round picks, Crevonte. I know we live and die. Our teams pick a lineman like we saw with you, and you don't necessarily like it in the moment. But let's look at the rounds yesterday, because I found myself watching rounds 4 through 7 because I'm a draft nerd. So 4 through 7, the day 3, Mr. Relevant, all the guys you don't necessarily know the names. You're like, well, who is my team drafting, and who is this guy, and why should I care? And what are they going to do to help my team get where they need to be? And you do the,
Go Google it.
Gotta Google.
You do that. You got to do it. So rounds 4 through 7, everybody. Hope you're following along. First team All Pros. We all want the first team All Pros. Those are the guys who make the big bucks. Those are the guys who are the superstars of the league.
Absolutely.
You kind of want to be an All Pro, like with the NBA. You want to be All NBA. You want to be All Pro instead of being an All Star, Pro Bowler. More or less, you get the big dollars and contract incentives. So listen to this, Crevonte. First team All Pros. Let's go to round 4. How many first team All Pros do you think there are currently in the NFL? This is current. So this is guys that are playing right now that were drafted in rounds 4 through 7.
In day 3.
Yep, 4 through 7 currently. So this is just total of current All Pros. This number was really shocking. Something to think about.
Let's go 10.
17 were drafted in the 4th round. Let's go 5th round, Crevonte. Give me a number.
Jeez. Let's go 12.
16 in the 5th round.
It's like
6 and 7 are the same number, so you can guess a number, and I'll tell you.
All right, let's go 9.
5. So 17 in round 4, 16 in round 5, and 6 and 7, 5 and 5. So guys, whoever your team is, do not shun the round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks, because most of the rosters are made up of guys rounds 2 through 7. We get enamored, like I said, with the first round picks, but just hearing those numbers, Crevonte, that's why the draft is important, and that's why you want more picks. That's why you have teams with double-digit picks, and you get more swings. You got a chance to hit a home run.
No, and that's why the Ravens are I get the mindset, because the more picks you have, the better your opportunity is at hitting on a player. And I'm not sure what the exact numbers are. We could probably look that up. It's going to change annually, but the percentages for GMs that hit on their draft picks as opposed to non, it's not 50%. Like it's low. It is lower than 50%. So the more picks you have, like what you guys had, 10, 11 picks?
11.
Listen, bro, you hit on 5, 6. That's elite level GMing right there. That's elite level scouting. You know what I'm saying? Your scouting department, your GMs, and all player personnel, they deserve absolute kudos, because 50% is elite. It's probably closer to 30 percent. And us, as a Commanders fan, we only had 5 picks. So it's like, shoot, it's like we need to hit on 3 pretty much. So that makes a whole lot of sense. But you got to have guys that dedicated in the scouting department, and you need to have coaches that's dedicated as well to make all this happen.
Yes, that's why those local scouts, they don't make a lot of money. They don't do the glamorous job, but they put in the work, go to these local small schools, big schools, find this talent that you see on Sunday. Let's get to the elephant in the room, Crevonte. Let's start off with the people I want to talk about. Brandon asked about it. Is he still on the board? He wants to see Hard Knocks. Shedeur Sanders falls. Not only does he fall, it's like gravity took him with a boulder attached to it. He falls to round 5, pick 144, Crevonte. I know this is goofy. He even was prank called, I believe. They said that was going around. They kept showing him at one point, all of the people that were with him. You saw his father talking to him. Passed on multiple times by multiple teams. We can insert a team anywhere that we could have said, oh, he could have went there. He could have went here. Passed on till we get to the 5th round. And like you said, with the Browns, they just drafted a quarterback in round 3. Dylan Gabriel went to Oregon, which I don't get why they would make that pick, whatever. Shedeur, what do you think what is this about? Is this really about him rubbing people the wrong way? Because even if you rub people the wrong way, the boy can play. I think he was the best pocket passer in the draft, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially with and again, check out our draft profiles. He was hitting at a over 70% clip. You know what I'm saying? And that's difficult to do at any level. I could see if he was just doing 70% at Jackson State and then came to Colorado and it plummeted, but he was 70%. That's around about where he was, and that's elite level numbers. That's elite level accuracy. But I don't think this had anything to do with football. I don't think this had anything to do with any of his football traits. Now, again, obviously none of us was there, but the word on the street is that he did not interview well. And more specifically, the Giants, I believe Brian Daboll had some not so good things to say about his interaction with Mr. Sanders. But oh man, this is wild, because it was that coupled with obviously his last name, who his father is. For those of y'all, I'm not sure if everybody knows about the story, that the story before his father got drafted. It's been reported several times, been in documentaries and all that. I don't remember the exact order of the draft, that Primetime was at. I don't remember the exact order, but the Giants, it's funny because it's the Giants again. The Giants came up twice. The Giants, I guess they're trying to set up an interview or schedule something with Deion Sanders. And Deion asked them, where were they picking? And they were picking outside the top 5. I think they picked like maybe 8 or something like that. And he told them people, I ain't going to be there. So ain't no point in us even doing this because I ain't going to be there. Sure enough, he gets picked by the Falcons. I want to say he was 5th overall, if I'm not mistaken. And he goes on to have a stellar career, Hall of Fame, elite Hall of Fame level career, and is widely regarded as the best cornerback to play the game, one of the best defenders to ever play the game. But prime time, he had music videos. He was in Hot Atlanta, so Atlanta was on fire. He had his shades on. He was swagged out. He just had a crazy, that's, even though I know that's Shedeur, but that's prime though. That's who he was. He had a bunch of charisma. He knew what the right things to say. He had a little bit of Muhammad Ali in him. You know what I'm saying? And the NFL ain't know what to do with him. The NFL couldn't. It's like, yo, we never experienced a player of this caliber who also plays on an elite level. We don't know what to do with this. And so Deion literally essentially did whatever he wanted to do because what he brought with him. Especially, him going for the 49ers to Cowboys or whatever, or vice versa, whatever order it went. And he won championships with both teams. And even at that time, he was known as one of the best. And couldn't tell him nothing, though. Fast forward 2025, he has a son. He has multiple kids, but specifically talking about Shedeur. What do you think Shedeur does? Look how Shedeur acts. He acts very similarly to his father. The apple definitely doesn't fall far from the tree. And Primetime gonna give him game. He gonna give him every bit of game because that's dad. He's gonna give him game. But I think the NFL was like, we don't want that again. And we're not gonna have that again. And sometimes he could be seen as like, loud personality. And you don't necessarily want that as your quarterback. You really want your guys really kind of buttoned up. You know what I'm saying? Not too loud. They're pretty much even killed. There's nothing quiet about this brother. There's nothing quiet about him. And if he came in to interviews like, why are we even having this interview? Why, like, you know who I am, you know what I do, instead of just going about the process, I can see how you can rub people the wrong way. Because the ultimate thing is nobody's bigger than a program. Nobody's bigger than the Shield. Nobody's better than any individual team, no matter how good you are. And now it's been reported, people be lying and all that stuff, but it was reported that. So, all right, that's one thing. But I think essentially this was to get back at Deion. I think this is what the NFL did. They did this to get back at Deion. I don't think this really had too much to do with Shedeur. Not to say that Shedeur did himself any favors, but I think this was a way at the NFL getting back at Deion more so than humbling Shedeur. Or maybe they humble Shedeur to get back at Deion. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's what it was. The NFL sent a message. We don't care what you got going on, who you are. We know who your father is. We know where your foundation is. You're not finna come in the NFL like your dad did. You're not finna do whatever you want. Like we're gonna humble you before you get here. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was about Deion the whole time. I don't think it had nothing to do with Shedeur. And it just so happens that he played quarterback as well. And that's not like kind of how he moves. You typically don't want a quarterback like that. But, that's what I think.
All right, let's look at the fit as we see the most. Ohio State, of course, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Ole Miss. Let's get to the fit. What do you think about the fit? They did also draft Dillon Gabriel real quick. First round. Let me pull up their picks for you, Crevonte, so you can follow along. And everybody at home, if you're new, I see everybody filing in. Please, if you can, hit the like button. It helps us out so more people can see the content that we're producing and get more eyes on what we do here on the Flex Zone. Got your draft coverage better than anybody. We're going to pretty much go over the whole draft. We're going to look at pretty much every pick. We're going to go team by team. Let's start with the Browns. Mason Graham. They get second round Carson Schwessinger out of UCLA. Quinshon Judkins, Crevonte, very good pick there as well. Harrod Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. Dillon Gabriel, Dylan Sampson, and Shedeur. Remember, they did trade with Jacksonville, moving up to number 2. They moved back to number 5. They also get Jacksonville's 1 in 2026. So they have another swing at quarterback next year if they want to, Crevonte, because I'm assuming that pick's going to be top 10 with the way that Tony Khan and Shad Khan and the rest of the Khans run the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't give a damn. Travis Hunter. Who else? Dog the Bounty Hunter, Travis Hunter, whoever else. It don't matter. The Jaguars are still going to be Hunter Hearst Helmsley for all my wrestling fans. Triple H, that's, if you don't know, it don't matter. They still going to win 5 games, okay? So they're going to be in the top 10 next year. So Cleveland will have 2 top 10 picks probably. But what do you think about the fit? And they got Mason Graham. They're in a division with the AFC North. They got to stop the run. The Ravens, the Steelers, not the Bengals per se, but the division is black and blue. What do you think about some of their picks? If I'm giving them a grade, we can play this fun exercise. I give them a solid B. I think they had a nice draft.
Listen, before the Shedeur thing, they was on a road to getting an A. They was on the road to getting an A because, again, they will. A part of the draft is not just your picks, how you use them, where you move, what do you gain, how does it help you in the future? Like, they got a first round pick for next year. They probably, like you said, they setting themselves up. They had a great first pick, and they set themselves up for next year's pick, which should be a better quarterback draft. They were on the road, especially their first couple picks. I love Quinshon Judkins.
And remember that he can come in and start day one, and you get also Dylan Sampson, another running back out of Tennessee. It's like 20 running backs. I mean, they got 2 good running backs already.
Yeah, I didn't think they got goofy until the back end.
Dylan Gabriel.
I think right around Dylan Gabriel, because again, and we didn't have enough time to get to this tight end. I had him on our list, but we was getting crunch time, so we kind of cut the tight end list short. He's a really good tight end. Like
quick analysis for the people who might not know. And they got Njoku too.
He's maybe not as athletic as Coulson, but he has all the qualities that you're looking for. Very solid qualities as far as blocking and pretty good hands. It's just that he went to Bowling Green. I think he just went to Bowling Green, but he's a part of a tight end class that's pretty heavy. You know what I'm saying? And naturally gets overlooked because he played tight end. He wasn't quite on the level of a Colston or a Warren, but he was next. Like after Warren and Colston, he was the next guy. You know what I'm saying? But and getting him in the 3rd round is great value. You know what I'm saying? Because he could have been around 2. He could have been a round 2 guy. But I figured he would be in day 2. But getting him at round 3, pick 67 is I think is great value for them, because and also the Browns have a whole lot of holes. So you want more, like we talked about before. You want more picks. And more. There's a better chance that you hit on one of them. Now, Dylan Gabriel is when they start getting goofy, because all right, whatever. You got another developmental quarterback to add to your room. So what's up with the whole Shedeur thing? Because now you got Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco. Now it's Shedeur, Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson. Yeah, it kind of forgot how I almost forget about him. You got, was that 5 guys? Oh! What are we doing? Like Stefanski, I don't know. This is one of those things where I think too much. It's too much. Like, this is not a good problem to have at all. And I think Shedeur, the funny thing, I think Shedeur would do great with Stefanski. But why you got all these quarterbacks on? Now, obviously, at least 2 of them that ain't gonna make it. At least 2 of them that's not gonna make it. But that I think that's when the draft start getting goofy, right? After you pick this great tight end and after this great running back, you pick Dylan Gabriel. Why? I don't get it. And that's why I would say B. But before that, they was on their way to an A.
Agreed. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I think Hard Knocks would be interesting if they do get that. I might have to tune in for that. I may have to see what they do with that. But I think, still last place in the AFC North currently, Crevonte. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. I mean, because like I said, they have so many holes. And as quarterback, you 4th. You probably best. Well, if we're ranking the quarterbacks, obviously it's Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow at the top. And then it gets kind of funky after that. But the Steelers are a better team nonetheless. Even if they ain't got a quarterback, the Steelers are still a better team. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say the Clowns will probably still be in last place.
All right, let's get to the Commanders, Crevonte. Let's go to it. Let's start there. Let's start hot. We saw your reaction on Thursday night, but only 5 picks, as you mentioned. Josh Conley Jr. out of Oregon. Trey Amos, really good pick. I think maybe my favorite pick for you guys. The corner from Ole Miss.
Yep.
Jalen Lane, wide receiver from Vitek, got in the trade from Houston. Kane, Medrano, another. UCLA had a couple linebackers. I think they had a couple go, so they had a good linebacking core. So you get a linebacker depth piece. And Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, a running back in round 7. And he may even be somebody that can make the team as a 7th rounder, Crevonte. But
Sure.
The Commanders, how you feeling, man? You are a fan of this team. Nobody can speak to this better than you. I'll give you the floor.
Man, I love I loved our draft. I absolutely loved it. The only thing I didn't love is that we only had 5 picks, but we had to deal with what we had to deal with. And we wasn't able to address the edge position. But you know, it is what it is. We did what we could with what we had. Now, I did not have the best first reaction. With our first pick of Josh Connolly Jr. as offensive tackle, because the guys who I really wanted, which was to address the defense, I had 3 different guys. I had Donovan Ezaraku, Eman Wari, and Jahad Campbell. Like they were guys like, yo, any 3 of them, you know, can help us immediately on the defensive side of the ball. Because remember, the last thing I remember is the Philadelphia Eagles hung 55 on us. That's the last thing I remember. So I'm trying to address this the defense side of the ball sooner rather than later. But again, sometimes your initial reaction is not always your best reaction. Looking back on it, I cannot go against or be upset or be mad at protecting JD5. Because typically the teams with the better offensive lines go further anyway. This also helps us with 2 positions, because now Josh Connolly is probably going to play right tackle. And if he's that at right tackle, that means Brandon Coleman could play guard, probably play left guard at that. And then we'll probably have Wiley play right guard until Sam Cosmi comes back, who is, between him and Laramie Tunsil, are our best offensive linemen. Sam Cosmi is a all-pro level guard, in my opinion. Laramie Tunsil is an all-pro left tackle. Brandon Coleman did pretty well at tackle. He did solid to be a rookie, but I think he can be a Pro Bowl level guard. We got Tyler Badass at center. And if Connolly could come in like on some Tristan Wirfs side of the game, oh my gosh, we got an offensive line for the future, for the now and the future. You know what I'm saying? When Sam Cosmi comes back, this gonna be us. This could be the line right here. And and all it does is give Jaden Daniels more time to get it to guys like Deebo Samuels and Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz and all these other guys. It just gives us more of an opportunity for that. So I understand the pick. The pick bolstered an offensive line, which was, I would say, probably average at best last year. Now, between the free agency and the draft, dare I say the offensive line has become a strength? Dare I say that? I don't know yet, but it for damn sure got better. I absolutely agree with you with our next pick. This is my favorite pick. This is my absolute favorite pick, because we had to address the secondary, because we had guys who were terrible last year, like Benjamin St. Juice, Michael Davis. Guys were just terrible. Forbes, you know, it was real bad on the back end last year. Getting Lattimore, hopefully he's able to have a healthy offseason, a full healthy offseason. And we got Jonathan Jones, vet, and Trey, and then now Trey Amos comes in. He's in your face. He has some length, has some athleticism, and he's tough outside corner. We put him at cornerback number 2, along with Sanderstill and Lattimore. A weakness again has become significantly better. Significantly better. We're upgrading our defense, you know, 1 pick at a time. And you saw what we did on defensive line. Again, we ain't got no pass rushes, but everybody stopping the run. Cool. I'm cool with it. We can't fix it all in 1 year. So defensive line has gotten better. The secondary has gotten better. And I love Amos out of Ole Miss. Love him. I think he's gonna fit in just fine. And who knows, after Lattimore, he may be cornerback number 1. So that's a possibility. And also we added depth to the secondary. Jalen Lane. This guy's fast, man. He has some speed. Definitely has some speed to him. I don't think he will be that much of a contributor on the wide receiver side of the game. I think this is our new returner. I think this is our punt returner / kick returner. So I think that bolsters our special teams, and he can still play wide receiver from time to time. He's very dynamic with the ball in his hands as well. Smaller guy, but nonetheless, speed kills, and we know that. Next, Kane, interesting pick right here. He's a fast, athletic linebacker. He's probably going to make his bread and butter on special teams at first. He probably will be. He may come in like obvious pass situations, and because Bobby Wagner is obviously a little long in the tooth, he's not the best in pass coverage. So we may see him every now and then on defense on obvious passing situations, but he's going to make his bread and butter on the defensive. on the special team side of the game. Very fast, very athletic, and very good sideline to sideline. But I think he's going to have to make his bread and butter on the special teams. Ja'Cory, my God, I love this pick too. I really like this pick. Really, really, really like this pick. We're adding to what was already a strength in our offense because of JD5. Now we're adding to the running back room some speed. We got a guy who can be a home run hitter, a home run threat. I think he runs a 4.45, something like that. And he adds change of pace. Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr. are not burners by no stretch of the imagination. But if we add in a little lightning to go along with their thunder, you know what I'm saying, Cliff Kingsbury will have a field day. And now it is not all on JD5 to make it happen. Because one, we're adding protection. We're adding protection. We're adding weapons. That's the name of the game. We got our guy. We got this window. I think we checked all the boxes. All these guys are going to make the team. All of them. Every one of these guys are going to make the team. One, because we're still currently flipping the roster, and we still need guys. Like, I'm not even sure we're going to have the 90 or what have you. We'll see what happens after we get our undrafted free agents. But all these guys are going to make the team, and they're all going to contribute sooner rather than later. Like I think all these players will contribute this year, which is great. So I just wish we had more picks. I wish we could have done more in those core third round, fourth round in that range. But shoot, I think all these 5 picks could hit. All these 5 picks are going to make the team. All these 5 picks will contribute. But I see the value in every pick, which is important with us still being able to build this culture and build this team. So, and these are guys that these are Commanders guys. Like I can legit look at these draft picks and say, hey, these are Commanders. These are all Commanders. So I feel good. I feel really good about this draft.
Real quick, Josh Connolly. I know we didn't do a full profile, but I do have my notes real quick. Crevonte, everybody. 6'5", 311, 5.05 40, 34.5-inch vertical, 8'7" broad jump, 33.5-inch arms, 10 3/8 hands. He was a 5-star recruit, number 1 O-lineman in his class, former high school running back, moved to O-line in 10th grade, 2022, 13 games as a reserve, 2023, honorable mention, all Pac-12, started 14 games at left tackle, and 3rd team All-American this past year, 14 games at left tackle. I compared him, Crevonte, to Roger Rosengarten, who the Ravens drafted last year, came in, started at right tackle on day 1, never looked back. So maybe Josh Connolly Jr. can be that for the Commanders and build those trenches. Let's go to the Ravens.
Also, one more thing before we go to the Ravens. I think it's so fitting that he has arguably some of his best tape is against Penn State, is against Abdul Carter. Oh, and look, where did Abdul Carter go?
And Jahad Campbell.
Right. So I see it's interesting because
And Azaraku.
that was my guy. I was hurt. I was hurt. I was hurt when they got Azaraku. I was like, yo, that was my guy. That's who I wanted. He went to the damn Cowboys. I hate what I'm gonna say when the Cowboys come up when we talk about the Cowboys. I hate what I'm gonna say because I hate what I feel, but damn, they did good with the Azaraku pick because I wanted him. But Connerly had some great tape against Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter going to the Giants is only fitting because now, hey man, you already know what your assignment is. Well, I don't know what side he's gonna rush from, but if he rushes from the left side of the defense, oh yeah, I like my matchup, and that's the best pass rusher in the, in the draft. You know what I'm saying? That's arguably some of his best tape. So I'm absolutely cool with that. But you need two bookends because the Giants, even though they are terrible, their defensive line is really good. And now we got to deal with Azaraku and Micah Parsons in Dallas and Philadelphia. You already got the Georgia boys. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So yeah. So I'm glad Adam Peters is cooking. You go ahead and cook, brother. You see what's going on.
Speaking of cooking, EDC had 11 picks, Crevonte. We'll just look at the Ravens real quick. Who they drafted here. Let me pull that up. They got the guy I thought they would get, Malachi Starks, at 1. Then Crevonte, I was so excited. One of my favorite players, as you know. Yes. I think probably one of the best pass rushers. Led the nation in sacks.
Yes.
Mike Green falls to them. They take a chance, even with all the goofiness going on. They get him right then and there. I said they got an A. I don't care what else they did after that. I said you got two.
The same thing.
I'm good. Then you get Emory Jones, who played with Will Campbell on the other side, Crevonte. So there's another tackle. You get Teddy Buchanan out of Cal. You get Carson Vincent, Bilal Kone, the corner, big corner, runs like 4.4. So we'll see what he becomes. Tyler Loop had a big leg, Justin Tucker situation, big leg, kicks from over 60.
Yeah.
LeJohntay Webster out of Colorado. Crevonte, remember he caught the Hail Mary from Shedeur. So he's one of the playmakers he has upside. You talked about returners. He could be special teams. So we're intrigued to see what he plays big. Aeneas Pebbles, another D lineman. Robert Longenbeam, they love corners, another corner, and another guard. So 11 picks for the Ravens. But obviously Malachi Starks and Mike Green. We can just start there with those two. Come on.
Again, I think with those two knockout picks, you picked essentially with your first two picks, you picked two guys who have top 15 grades. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that is an A regardless of how the rest of the draft goes. Because even with how you guys draft, let's just take out Malachi Starks and Mike Green. The way you guys goes with 9 picks, even if only 3-4 of them hit, that's it. That's all you needed essentially to still get into that, regular 35, 40%, 30%, whatever it is that you need to keep your job as a GM. that number that you need to hit. And then you add in A's with Mike Green and Malachi Starks. I think you guys already have a foundation and a structure that you may be able to take on somebody who has like character concerns or character issues, off the field issues, and be able to bring them into this locker room like, hey, what actually happened? And have you gotten better at it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gonna just come into the Ravens locker room and act like anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's great. And I love Malachi Stark. I thought him and Eman Warrior, I love both of them at safety. I would have liked either one of them to be on tape. And I like Mike Green as well, but I just knew with the foundation that the Commanders are building, we're not where y'all are to be able to take on a player who has clear character off the field issues on and be able to, still stay afloat. We not there yet. Y'all are, we not. Like, there was no way we was picking Mike Green. I don't care how good he was. There was no way we was picking Mike Green. But for him to go to the Ravens, oh man, y'all needed edge rush help. I think the safety pick actually was probably more of a luxury pick because of who you have at safety already. But it's no shame in having a lockdown safety duo, and now that Malachi Starks could be your deep safety, and y'all can have Kyle Hamilton, more freely as a roamer. You know what I'm saying? So now look to see Kyle Hamilton make a whole lot more plays this year, more than usual, and probably have Malachi Starks on the back end patrolling the deep third, that deep middle, third.
Let's get to the stats. Let's go to the top. Let's work our way from the top. We talked about the local teams. If you're new, make sure you hit the like button, hit the bell. We're going to kind of recap most of the teams here. We started at number 1, Crevonte. Emotion on Cam Ward says it all. He's the number 1 pick. We knew it was going to be. You love that visual there.
Oh man, it's amazing. And where he came, like when they say you got it out the mud, he got out the mud. Like he wasn't a heavily regarded recruit. He wasn't a 5-star athlete. Now, matter of fact, he might have been. I don't even know if he was a 3-star athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really, really bounced around and really had to work for everything he got. And for him to have the opportunity to be the number 1 overall pick is absolutely amazing. Like this is the story you tell for like to tell like dreams really can come true if you work at it. And also he wasn't flashy. He was modest. He had a modest suit on. He talked about his peoples, you know what I'm saying? Like quiet, laid back. He looked like he's all about his football. And I like the pick more for the Titans than I did probably about a month ago.
I'm assuming the presumptive day 1 starter, and real quick at their draft class, Cam Ward, Olawolfemi, Ola Adeo, Kevin Winston Sr. I like that Kevin Winston Sr. pick out of Penn State. He got hurt, Crevonte. He's a good safety. That whole defense was good. I know Carter's great, but they had a good defense. Chimere Dyke, Gunnar Helm, Alec Ayo Manor, Jackson Slater, Marcus Harris, and Khalil Mulligans. A lot of weapons for Cam Ward and some protection as well. What do you think real quick about the Titans?
Well, I think that's what you have to do. If you're going to bring in a new guy to be your signal caller and your quarterback, number 1, protect him. Number 2, get weapons for him. I think that's the best way to go about doing this. Like you said, Winston at Penn State, if he didn't get hurt, he probably could have been in the category of an Eman Worry and Malachi Starks. But it was some guys. It's some guys on that Penn State defense, but Abdul Carter pretty much it was him and then everybody else. But the Titans seem as though they're trying to turn it around. I don't know what they're going to do with Will Levis, but I think they made some necessary picks to do this hard shift. Because it's definitely going to be a hard shift because you got CJ, you got CJ Stroud to deal with. You have Trevor Lawrence, even though, the cons have been so, but they nonetheless still, they have a guy over there. So I think this is a good spot. And they're doing some good things to try to turn this thing around.
Number 2, we saw the trade. We briefly talked about it. We saw Travis Hunter go at 2. We knew he was going at 2, Crevonte, but not to Jacksonville. The boy had energy. You can tell he's going to come in. He's a YN. He's going to be playing at 110%. And he was dancing up and down the halls in Jacksonville, having a good time. Like I said, Travis Hunter, Dog the Bounty Hunter. They're going to be bad, but he's going to be exciting to watch. And he gets to play Cam Ward twice a year in the same division, the ever now more entertaining AFC South. And we'll look at the Jaguars picks, but Travis Hunter at 2, no surprise there. Best corner and maybe wide receiver to draft.
I think Khan knows a thing or two about selling tickets. I don't know much about you. Probably know about the Khans a little bit more than me, but he know a thing or two about selling tickets. And Travis Hunter is box office. Him talking about playing both sides of the ball is exciting, not realistic. They do have Brian Thomas as at wide receiver, who looks like he's him. He's legit. on the outside. At corner, I think will be interesting for the Jaguars. I would start him there and find ways to get him the ball to get him, acclimated on the offensive side of the ball. But I think it's just so much harder finding corners nowadays. I just think he'd be more valuable at that position. But him playing offense, defense full time is absurd. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just has all the energy. He has all the YN energy in the world, and it's going to hit him sooner rather than later.
Looking at that draft picture real quick, Travis Hunter, Caleb Ransall, Wyatt Millum, Bashal Tootin, Jack Kaiser. I think that's a good pick out of Notre Dame. They had a really good defense.
Yes.
Jalen McLeod, Rayon Lane, Jonan Mohim, and LaQuink Allen. Real quick on their draft class, you like it? Their GM came from the Rams, by the way, so he's used to taking big swings, F them picks type things.
I
believe he's like 30. I believe he's like 30 something. He's real young.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I gotta look it up, but yeah, he's like came from the Rams.
Sean McVay young over there anyway. But obviously this headline by Travis Hunter. You arguably got the best player in the draft. I want to say just like Penn State, the Notre Dame defense has some guys on the defense as well. I think they have a corner. I think his name is Benjamin Morris. We'll probably end up talking about him a little later. I'm not sure. I don't remember where he went, but it's some guys in that secondary that can absolutely help the Jaguars. But the Jaguars is a team that kind of underwhelming. Maybe we didn't think they had as many holes as they do, and I think they addressed a good bit of them in this draft.
It's gonna come down to Trevor Lawrence. It's gonna come down to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh, 34-year-old GM under less need in LA, James Gladstone. Remember, Trent Baalke was there from 49ers, came over. He gets fired. They get the new coach, and then they got the Tampa Bay OC, and now they got James Gladstone, 34 years of age. So there you go, Crevonte, young bull,
a little youth. Add some youth to this. But it's as long as Trevor Lawrence has to be healthy, number one, and him getting another weapon is never a terrible thing. The defense getting better is never a terrible thing, and the adding to the offensive line is always a great thing. So it'll be. I don't see a lot of notables outside of Travis Hunter, but I guess they have a little YN at general manager as well. They're going to take some swings. They see something they like, they're going to take it. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we'll look back and say, "Dang, I thought the Jaguars were pretty goofy at the top of the draft, but they hit." And I guess essentially that's all that matters. If the pick hits, that's it. That's really all that matters. But I did feel like they gave a bunch. They gave a lot for Travis Hunter, but they needed I guess they're trying to sell tickets, but they also needed a special talent that I guess they didn't feel like they had on their team. So Travis Hunter.
Speaking of special talent, I think this brother's going to be dominant. He goes to New York. Abdul Carter, no surprise there. He pairs with Dexter Lawrence, and they picked up Thibodeau, another guy we liked. Hasn't really produced like to what we thought. They picked up
except for when he plays the Commanders.
Okay, well, I was trying. Picked up his fifth-year option, so he's going to be there. And they drop back into the first round, Crevonte, and take Jackson Dart. I thought they was going to come get Shedeur. They get Jackson Dart at get Darius Alexander out of Toledo. I think was a good pick. Cam Scatterbo, a running back. Remember him? Kind of rose to fame in the playoffs. Arizona State. Marcus Mimbo, Thomas Fidone. I think that was a good pick out of Nebraska. Like you said, deep tight end class, and Corey Black in the 7th round corner. What do you think about the Giants in the NFC East?
I thought that was a terrible idea. I post Abdul Carter, like you was A. You was an A till you did that dumb stuff.
He could have fell to him, Crevonte, right?
Yeah. Like what you reaching for? What are you reaching for? Like that? Well, I think Mark. I don't even know which one you talking about, Mark. Was that a reach? I know for
Travis
sure.
Hunter. think he's Travis Hunter.
Oh, Travis. Oh, yeah. I think it was. I think that was a reach. I think it was too much. But I think this was a reach as well. Because Abdul Carter, that's the easy A for the first round. But now you jump back and getting Dart, and I'm like, I feel like I'd have been cool with you jumping back up and getting Shedeur. I thought that would have been more. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They trying to figure this out. But I thought I didn't see much from Dart to say that he's better than Shedeur. Yo, Raj, reaching out for those players.
Yeah, I didn't get that one. Like I said, he would have been there if they wanted to wait, Crevonte.
Yeah. What do you? Yo, he'd have been there. You could have picked him. What they had, like 34th pick.
Right,
it was that second round. Yeah, he'd have been there. Like, what do we? I don't know. I thought that was quite unnecessary. Like I said, after Abdul Carter, I was like, this is kind of mid. But Abdul Carter is an A. I don't know about the rest of them.
You know, I told Shane Thursday, Crevonte, I've said it to you. I think the Patriots are coming. Will Campbell's going to help that. He already talking about he going to die for Drake, man. He already talking about I'm going to protect that brother till I die.
That's a football player.
Apparently, Crevonte, and this could be a goofy of the week, but there is no video footage. Trust me, I looked. Apparently, during the workout, Mike Vrabel put on pads and went at Will Campbell one-on-one like he's still playing, and Will Campbell put him on his ass, and people heard about it. He was like, well, it's no video, so it's no proof. So Mike Vrabel, that's how he's scouting players. He's putting on pads, thinking he can still run at him like a linebacker. And if you don't know who Will Campbell is, he's the best lineman in this class, in my opinion. He goes with Drake May. I think they're going to have a really, really good year. They're going to be the second best team in that division, in my opinion, Crevonte. And we'll look at that draft, but Will Campbell at 4, no brainer.
Absolutely. Mike Vrabel is one of those guys that's he's gonna motivate you, not just through speech, but through his actions. Why the hell is he still putting on pads? What is wrong with him?
That's what the streets are saying. That's what the streets are saying. That's what I heard. I don't know.
But it's up his alley, though. So even if, like, it's a rumor, but I believe this. And I believe Will Campbell, like, they're both dudes. Like, Mike Vrabel is a dude. Like, he like, man, y'all lucky this wasn't 15 years ago, because I get out there and dog all y'all. Like, I think that's the type of energy that he brings. And I've seen a video, I don't know if you've seen it, of Will Campbell. He was comparing the difficulties of playing offensive line versus defensive line. He was like, yo, the guy across from me, if he get a sack a game, that's 12 sacks. He's going in the first round. If I give up 12 sacks, if we as an offensive line individually give up 12 sacks, we working at Amazon. That's what he said. And ain't nothing wrong with Amazon, but I'm just saying, if you want to do this football thing, you know what I'm saying? If you want to make it, you can't give up no sacks. That's not a thing. That's not an option. That's a luxury that the defensive linemen have. If they could come up with 12 sacks in a season, they have a good opportunity to be a first round pick. He was like, no, I can't do that. So I live this, I breathe this. Like, that's a dude. Like, that's a guy you want on your offensive line, because that's a guy. He's a dude. He gonna come to play football. He want to play football. He loved football. Speaking
of dudes, not only to get Will Campbell, they get Travion Henderson. You pair him with Ramondre Stevenson. You get Kyle Williams, Jared Wilson, Craig Wilson, Joshua Farmer, Brandon Swinson, Andres Bogarales, the second kicker after the Ravens, Marcus Bryant, Julian Ashby, and Kobe Minor. I mean, those first 2 picks, like with the Ravens, you can get them a damn near A with those alone.
Absolutely. And it looks like what they had 11 picks too.
They had 3. Yep, they had a lot of picks. Yep, 11.
So they had a great offseason. And then they coupled that with getting the best offensive lineman in the draft. They have Travion Henderson, which was probably running back 3-4, depending on who you like between Junkins and Travion Henderson. There you go. You got Drake May, you got your signal caller, you protect him, you get him a weapon. That's what you do. And with all those picks, a couple of them bound to hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't completely strike out, but I think this is a great offseason as a whole for the Patriots. And dare I say it? I mean, well, not even dare I say it, because you've already said it. They probably going past the Dolphins. Because by the time
I wouldn't be surprised if they sneak into the playoffs either. I mean, I'm not just trying to be crazy, but the way the NFL is, we know Crevonte always say 5 in, 5 out. They could sneak in.
Absolutely. Absolutely not. Especially if this offense starts clicking. Because one thing that the Patriots always have done well was defense. It's been the offense of post Tom Brady. Getting the offense together is the hard part. You know what I'm saying? So they have the opportunity to do that, and it's great when you start with the offensive line.
Pick 5 was Mason Graham, Crevonte, one of my favorite players also, because you can never have too many guys in the trenches. I mean, it's not a sexy pick, but I think he's just going to be, Mason the place. He's going to take up a lot of space, and that's what you got to do in the NFL, especially in the AFC North. We talked about the Browns, obviously, if you want to go back, talk about Shedeur, but, this pick right here gives them an A in the first round to me.
Absolutely. Between the trade and this pick, yeah. I think this was an A. Definitely an A for the first round. He plays in Michigan. He's not worried about the cold. In the NFC North, everywhere cold. So there's no adjustment. He's a guy too. He's a dude too. Even though he can be a little bit undersized, his arms maybe a little bit shorter than you like, his motor's there. And he played at Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna bring a certain level that you want, especially going to the AFC North, because it's the black and blue division for a reason. And I think he is cool with it. I think he's all right with it. So you got some guys out there namely, you got to worry about Derrick Henry. All right. Like that's a thing. So adding to their defensive line is going to help with that. He probably not do too much with Lamar, but as far as Derrick Henry and your other running backs behind him, I think they'll have a say-so in the running game, at least from Derrick Henry's aspect.
Oh, and Myles Garrett is still there, by the way. So that's 2 guys he's going to have to get right there. So they will be better. It wasn't Abdul Carter like I might have done, but it's not bad getting Mason Graham.
Not bad at all.
I've been Babe Ruth calling my shot for weeks, Crevonte. They just caught up to it. Ashton Genty, whatever you want to call a brother. I call that brother damn good. I'm calling him right now the offensive rookie of the year. I told you this before the draft. I said, don't be surprised if this brother gets over 1,500 yards, has a Saquon Barkley S-type rookie year where he's running wild. And I think Vegas is going to be a little better than people think too, Crevonte. We'll look at their draft class, but getting Genty in round 1. Pete Carroll want to run that ball. Not at the 2-yard line, but he'll run that ball.
Some of Pete Carroll's best years, when Pete Carroll was at his peak, he's had a guy at running back. If you go back to USC, he had Lindell White
and
Reggie Bush.
Both of
them. He comes to the league. He has beast mode, Marshawn Lynch, and he was able to make it to the mountaintop multiple times with both of them. He went back to back in college and in the pros.
Yeah.
When he had his guy at running back, he went with the 03-04 and then 13-14. But we remember how 14 ended. So he didn't complete the back-to-back for the NFL, but he got there. When he has his guy in the backfield and he has a guy that limits mistakes at quarterback, he can find success. Now it's just getting the offensive line together, because I don't care how good your running back is, your offensive line is what's going to put him over the top, because that's the difference between Saquon Barkley with New York and Saquon Barkley with Philly. Saquon Barkley was always good, but when you put him behind 5 guys that can move bodies, you get to the Super Bowl. Like, that's a thing. And I think that's the type of time Pete Carroll is on with Genty, and it's a splash pick, and they in Vegas. They got to sell tickets too.
And Brock Bowers last year set the rookie record. I told you, man, this offense. I know they got Geno. They got Jack Beck out of TCU. He can play. Remember, his brother, unfortunately, tragically passed in New Orleans. Terrorist attacks on the first of the year, unfortunately. Yeah. But he's a big get. I like also, I'm not going to read each pick, but Dante Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee, Crevonte. I believe he's like 6'4", 6'5", runs like 4'3", big target. You got, like I said, you got Genty and Bowers. That's better than most right there. They got
Yes.
some weapons in that AFC West. I know the tribal chief is there, Andy Reid, but they're going to be competitive, especially if Geno can play to the good Geno.
Absolutely. There is, man, that the only thing that's a tough division, man. We got the Chargers, the Broncos, and of course we got the tribal chiefs that's been dominating easily the last 10 years in the division. So they will be competitive at this point. That's all you want. You want to be able to be competitive. And I think they will be competitive, but they do always give the Chiefs a hard time. They usually give the Chiefs a hard way to go anyway. So at this point, you just got to steal the game.
Pick 7, we kind of talked about it briefly before coming on. They got your guy at O-line. I'm a big Will Campbell guy. You're a big Armand Membu guy from what I remember. The Jets get Membu at 7, kind of where we thought he could go. And what do you think about that pick before I get into that draft class? Because they have a Hall of Fame son also on their team as well, not just Shedeur.
So I thought if the Jets were smart, and we don't say this often because remember the Jets and the Browns are kind of in the same category.
We like Aaron Glenn. We like Aaron.
We like Aaron Glenn. We do.
But we like Robert Saleh too. But that ain't.
It don't matter, right? But it seems like I think with this first pick, it seems like they're trying to turn things around.
You guys,
because the Jets could have been goofy with this pick, but going after the offensive line, almost solidifying like the offensive line is damn near strength now. And he's probably gonna slide right in at right tackle. This is what I'm hoping for the Commanders. Just this guy comes in, he's right tackle. That's gonna be his home because they got Fields, they got Justin Fields over there. So obviously you want to be able to protect your signal caller, offensive line, push teams, you really push organizations like, and I think them going about the draft the correct way, building inside out. I think this is a good step in the right direction for the Jets and hopefully Aaron Glenn.
Mason Taylor, the son of NFL Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, and nephew of Joy Taylor, Raj. There you go. Also, Malachi Moore out of Alabama, I think, is a steal if he can live up to what he's capable of. The Jets, they don't draft terribly. I mean, they've drafted the offensive and defensive rookies of the year. They just don't draft quarterback well. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's it. You're right. I like Thomas out of Florida State. He wasn't a burner though, which is probably why he fell.
Okay.
Not necessarily fall, but I knew he wasn't a first round guy. He could have won the second round, but you know, it is what it is. It fell this way. But the reason why he's a third round pick is because he's not fast. I think he only ran like a 4.5-ish, but he's a tough guy, in your face guy. So he adds some much needed toughness. Maybe not much needed, but more toughness because the Jets were pretty solid. You know, over the years they've been pretty solid defensively. And adding to that secondary, he can be the cornerback number 2 over there.
Let's get to the Panthers, another team I'm thinking is going to have some potential this year. And Crevonte, they got another good one. I really like this pick too. You may hear that a lot. I like T-Mac. We like T-Mac.
We like
going to the Panthers, helping out guy Bryce Young. And then also they go get Nick Scorton in round 2. So I think they had a really good first 2 rounds, especially. And they get Trevor Etienne, brother of Travis Etienne as well. We know they needed running back help. And they get Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame in the 5th round, another tight end. So, and Jimmy Horn Jr., a Colorado receiver. So weapons for our guy, Bryce Young. And I believe they're picking up our boy, Ekmenu Ikwanu, the tackle, his 5th-year option as well.
Which is also good. Again, gotta protect him. We like T-Mac. I'm just hoping that T-Mac is better than Kelvin Benjamin.
Please.
The Kelvin Benjamin experiment did not work out. Just didn't work out. Not sure if he loved football as much as he was perceived at Florida State. But T-Mac, he has all the ability in the world, big body. He's going to have to get stronger at the line of scrimmage, though. He's going to have to get stronger at the line of scrimmage. And on top of that, he's not a burner either. He probably runs like a 4.5. Like he's not. I don't think he's running by too many people. He's more of a jump ball, maybe more possession receiver. A goal line, goal to goal threat. He's going in the red zone. He's going to be a huge threat. So, but you give Bryce Young another target, and because he's a when in doubt target. When in doubt, he over there somewhere, and he's 9 times out of 10 he's going to be bigger than the guy that's trying to check him. So, I think that's a great pick.
And you pair him with Xavier Legette from last year, Crevonte, so they got some weapons. I think expect a big year from Bryce Young, guys. We know the NFC South can be very unpredictable, so anything could happen. Speaking of unpredictable, Crevonte, a franchise you know very well now, the New Orleans Saints. You know, we knew they were goofy before. Now you even have a closer tie to it. They're in cap hell every year. You know, I like the Calvin Banks pick. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was a good player. Shedeur was there. They didn't take him. Not only do they take Calvin Banks, which I think is a good pick, and I'll get your thoughts on that. They go in round 2 at number 40 with Shedeur on the board again, Jalen Milroe on the board again, whoever else you like.
Yep.
They go Tyler Shugg out of Louisville. Then go Vernon Broughton, Jonas Schenker. I thought they kind of swung and missed on this draft. I thought this was an opportunity for them to get some good pieces, maybe at quarterback at least, get a quarterback out of the draft. The brother's like 26, 27, had like 6 or 7 injuries, been at 3 different schools. I know some Saints fans was crashing out, and I don't blame them.
Not a fan. Not a fan at all. What was that? And again, love the first pick. You can't go wrong when you go trenches. And we like Banks. We did a profile. We did a profile of Banks, so we like Banks. But why? Who is this guy with 3 degrees because he's been in school so goddamn long? Who is this? Who is this guy? And Shedeur was there, which again, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's bigger than football. I think things had way more to do with just football and football attributes. But you're not gonna sit here and tell me this guy is better than Shedeur. I know it's not. So I was like, this is not a football thing. And
they just took Spencer Rattler last year.
Right. And he played. And Spencer Rattler played, but I guess they're not feeling him too much. And of course, obviously, they're not feeling the whole Derek Carr situation either. He's not happy there as well. So they got a very interesting quarterback room. But I love Banks. I thought that was an A.
I thought another reach in the first round, in my opinion. I think he's a good player, but I thought it was a reach. The Bears. Now, they took Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren, which I think is a mistake personally, because I think Tyler Warren is that guy at tight end. Love still, good, but not what Tyler Warren is with his versatility. But they take Loveland at number 10, Crevonte. Not even O-line. What did you think about that pick?
Surprise. The Browns trade with the Jaguars was obviously the first surprise. I think this one was probably the next one. I think Tyler Warren, it depends on what you like. Because Colston Loveland is essentially a wide receiver in a tight end's body. So you won't see Colston Loveland may spend more time out wide than he is at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's probably a guy who Ben Johnson likes a little bit better than what Tyler Warren had to offer. But I did think it was I thought it was a reach. I thought Colston Loveland probably went to maybe the Broncos. I thought he was going to be there, but obviously it seems like Ben Johnson fell in love with Colston Loveland and told Ryan Poles, "Hey man, get him." And again, that's another weapon for Caleb Williams. So Caleb Williams got weapons galore, man.
No excuses.
Offensively, the Bears should be significantly better. I mean, with talent, play calling, as long as Caleb Williams got his head on his shoulders correctly, they should be all right. And he should have how many yards did he have?
We'll find that out real quick though.
because I don't think he had 4. Because I think the Bears are still looking for the 4,000 yard rush. I don't think he had it, but this may be the year.
And then get your guy Luther Burden and all 9 of his sisters and his girlfriend, who's his manager.
The talent is there. Okay. I'll say that the talent is there, and also remember I said this wide receiving group from of this draft, it wasn't too many number 1 guys. It wasn't no real Z receivers. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of Y's, a lot of Y receivers. And if you already have a guy who is your outside receiver, you're already number 1 receiver, guys like Emeka, Luther, Matthew Golden, those guys would be perfect, which is why, and getting them in the second round, like 39, that's like pick like what, 6, 7 in the second round. That's pretty good value, because I thought they were like, you know, they were back in first round to second round, because I didn't think neither one of them had like top end wide receiver 1. I don't think they was in that tier, but getting him at that spot is pretty good. I'm just hoping he don't come entitled like they said he was in Mizzou.
He got Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, and Caleb Williams. 3,541 yards, Crevonte, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 87.8 rating. So not a bad year for Caleb. I think people are
not statistically.
Yeah.
Me, I'm an eye test guy. Yeah. If you look at the year, it's like, oh, he didn't do bad, but there was a lot of spots where I was like, yo, what is going on? But blame the Commanders, because it was all downhill after the miracle in Maryland.
Ozzie Trapilo out of Boston College. Look out for him. I know they've been rebuilding their line, getting Joe Thuney and others. So look out for him to maybe start at right tackle. Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M is a good pick. And you know I love my Maryland guys. Ruben Hippolyte. I know Maryland sucked, but he was one of the best defensive players. He can tackle. He can hit. So look out for him as well with Chicago, who has a really decent defense, by the way, too.
Already, right. Yeah. I mean, that's what they stand on. Chicago stand as a town, as a football town. They stand on their defense. So this is a shift. This is an interesting shift for Chicago, gearing probably more so to the offensive side of the ball, you know, with their weapons, obviously their quarterback weapons, and addressing the offensive line. So Chicago should look a little bit more balanced and look very much different than the Chicago Bears that we have known.
49ers had a down year. Alex, where you at? Michael Williams, Crevonte, you talk about a good player falling to a good organization, and Perfect. They need youth and more pass rushers now. What did you think about that?
Well, the 49ers lost a lot of folk. They lost a lot of folk, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And honestly, that was the 49ers calling card too. Their front seven was at one point a beast. So they're able to add a guy on their defensive line that could possibly turn things around. And oh my God, look who's back. Who's their defensive coordinator? Robert Saleh is going to bring that intensity with him. And this is a Georgia Bulldog, so he know a thing or two about football, playing football and playing in big games and big moments. That's going to easily translate at the next level.
And you know they got to pay Brock Purdy, so they need cheap labor as well. From the Commanders pick, they took Jordan James out of Oregon, so a good running back there because they traded Jordan Mason to the Vikings. So we don't know Christian McCaffrey's health. I guess he's going to be ready for the season, but they got some depth on defense. They got Alfred Collins out of Texas. That's a good pick. Nick Martin out of Oklahoma State, and Upton Stout, the compensatory tick out of Western Kentucky. So they got some defensive guys, so they're going to try to rebuild and do what they do as well. Let's get to pick 12. The Dallas Cowboys. Before we get into them, guys, make sure you hit the like button if you're watching, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. We got discussion going. We're talking about each team's draft, going through the first round, going through each pick. Crevonte, I know it might pain you to say, but the Cowboys draft as good as any team maybe in your division outside. I mean, them and the Eagles are really good. And the Cowboys, where they may be goofy when it matters most, they get some good players, and they didn't overthink it, getting Tyler Booker. And we'll get to their other picks, but getting Tyler Booker, the best guard in the draft. He looked fly. He looked like a Cowboy. I'm not even going to lie. He looked like a Cowboy already.
Hated it, man. Absolutely hated it, man. I said, God damn it. Like, Zach Martin, they go from Zach Martin, and now Tyler Booker is pretty much probably going to take his spot. in particular, they don't just draft well, they draft offensive line very well. Like they have a bunch of like Hall of Famers that we are familiar with. With Fredericks, he had an illness. He ended up having an illness and having to pretty much medically retire. Zach Martin, they had Ty Smith. So they had guys. They had guys that we had to deal with. That they drafted on the offensive side of the ball, and they had Guyton. They had, was it Guyton last year? So they got some
Guyton. Lael Collins fell to them one year. Remember, he was solid for a couple.
Crazy. So they do really well on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm not looking forward to dealing with, Tyler Booker twice a year, but it is what it is. But the Cowboys knocked it out the park. You didn't overthink it, because we know the Cowboys can overthink it at times. But as far as the offensive line is concerned, they got it. And I'm sick at the next pick. Oh, I am sick.
Brother, their first 4 picks. Because
their first 3. Jaden Blue.
They got Jaden Blue out of Texas, Crevonte. So I'm looking at it like, hold up. They got Booker. Donovan Ezeraku falls to him. He leads the nation as Boston College, does his thing with the sacks. Javon Revel, maybe the best corner, just got hurt. East Carolina falls to him. They need corner. Jaden Blue out of Texas. I mean, those first 4 picks are going to be starters and impact players.
I'm sick. I was like, oh my gosh, I love their draft. I hate that I have to say this, and it's because I wanted Donovan Ezeraku. I was hoping they would take him at 29. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a huge boost to your edge and your pass rush. And they already have Michael Parsons. So now they got bookends. You know what I'm saying? So that hurt. I really like Siobhan Revel. He has really good size and really good ball skills. It's just that he got hurt. So his stock went down, but I thought he was just as good as, the top tiers of the cornerback group. So that sucked. And then Jalen Blue, the track team, what was his 40?
I was just thinking, like, what is his 40? I thought I had it in front of me. Let me find it out real quick.
Whatever it is, I know it's fast. So the Cowboys, them first 4 picks, they get an A off that. They probably get it. They get an A off that, because they got guys who can impact them this year. So I'm not looking forward to playing these guys who, especially they got a guy Ezeraku. He's gonna give hell. But luckily, we got bookend tackles, so we should be able to block them.
Crevonte ran 4.38, second fastest running back by Shedeur Sanders. So there you go. Who ran a 4.28. So there you go.
Just got faster in the back. Oh my gosh, man! God damn.
And Tootin ended up going to the Jaguars, so they got speed with Travis Hunter. So I forgot he is a really, really fast running back too. So out of Virginia Tech, so they got some speed with Blue. Do the Cowboys, Crevonte.
Sick. They got it. They get an A off that, man. Yes. My God, they really knocked out the first 4 picks for sure.
Yes. Let's go to the Dolphins real quick. I thought they reached heavy. I thought they would have went maybe Starks or Emmett Worry. They go Kenneth Grant, Crevonte, in the first round. I don't know if he was a first round pick to me, but they go Kenneth Grant, and I'll pull up the rest of their picks as well.
Very underwhelming. Very, very underwhelming draft. I didn't see much of nothing out the Dolphins. If I'm gonna drop the Dolphins in those that winner loser category, there I think they're definitely in the loser category, probably along with the Saints and another team that should be coming up pretty soon. And I ain't seen much from the Bengals either, but the Dolphins, I didn't see much, and I thought that was a reach at, what was that, 13?
Yes, sir. That was the first big reach in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and I thought he was back in first round at highest. So I thought that was a super reach.
Now they did get 2 Maryland guys, Dante Trader, junior safety, and Jordan Phillips, D tackle. I don't know what they're going to be in the NFL, guys. They could be good. They could be rotational pieces, but don't hold your breath that they're going to be great. They could be good, but I don't see great with both of them. And then they took Quinn Ewers. So what does that say about Tua? Maybe we see Quinn Ewers this year because Tua may not play all 17 games, unfortunately.
Exactly. So I thought, and Quentin Ewers, he played his cards wrong too. I was like, he should have stayed. He should have stayed at I think he had $8 million on the table.
And he could have went anywhere he wanted to, because I mean, Arch Manning pushing him out the door. He could have played anywhere.
Yeah. And now he's stuck. What was that? 6th, 7th round?
7th round.
Yeah, that wasn't worth it. I don't think he played that correctly. But who's in that quarterback room? There's 2 Ewers now.
Yeah.
Who else is over there?
Who else they have? Do they still? I don't know who they have. I don't know. They had anybody.
Nothing noteworthy, obviously.
They had Skylar Thompson. I think he was like undrafted or something.
Skylar Thompson. You are right. That name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I think he played like playoff game one year when Tool was hurt. So
yep.
Yep. So I don't know. I'll look that up. Let me get the next pick. Was a guy that we pretty much had going here for a lot of people, us included, Tyler Warren to the Colts.
Yeah.
No brainer. Mark, where you at? I think they did a really good job getting him, and I think he's going to be right there. He could have if he has close to 100 catches, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, absolutely not. And he's gonna add a different wrinkle to their offense. I'm concerned about their quarterbacks. I'm gonna be honest with you, but at the tight end position, he's probably more of a Gronk type of tight end, as far as Colston Loveland probably reminds me closer to Travis Kelce. If I'm talking about the higher end tight ends, what they compare to as far as those two, but he's tough, man. He brings some toughness to the to that offensive line / receiving corps, because he liked to block. He definitely liked to block, and he brings some a lot of toughness to the team. But we pretty much had them pegged here the entire time. So the Colts did not overthink this at all.
I kind of wish, I know they took Riley Leonard, and he may actually play this year because I don't trust Anthony Richardson, or honestly Daniel Jones. So we could see Riley Leonard in, because he kind of reminds me of a Daniel Jones. He can run and throw a little bit, but I thought they might even maybe take a shot on a Jalen Milroe or Shedeur or Kyle McCord or any of those guys, but they didn't. Will Howard even. I mean, quarterback, like you said, they have a good roster, but no quarterback.
Exactly. And when you have a good roster and no quarterback, it don't matter. It's the same result. Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, I'll be honest with you, I don't have much faith in them. They will, dare I say, if Cam Ward could be shot out, could get a good jump start, Titans might mess around and be better than the Colts.
Okay.
Which would be crazy. Which would be crazy. But their running back. Who is their running back? The Colts.
Jonathan Taylor.
He's gonna get a lot of work. I think he's gonna get a whole lot of work. But they're probably third. They're probably third in this division.
I thought it was another slight reach here, personally, just me. Jalen Walker to the Falcons. Falcons going to Falcon. I guess they need a defense. They must be betting on his brother's upside and the fact he went to Georgia.
Absolutely. He at the crib. He's absolutely at the crib. And he has some versatility, though. I will say that. He can play off ball and he can rush the passer. So, that is Atlanta with the Falcons, they typically don't do defense well. Historically, they're more of a offense sell tickets type of town. But I thought it was a good defensive pickup because of his versatility. And he played in Georgia. Hopefully he don't get any trouble.
They did trade back in to get James Pierce. I like that pick. He has a lot of upside if he can figure it out. So if they figure it out together, Crevonte, they will have something. And another safety that got hurt. Well, he didn't get hurt. He just kind of fell. Xavier Watts, because maybe he wasn't physically imposing or didn't test well, but he's a winner, and he was part of that Notre Dame defense that made it to the national championship game. I liked him as well. So those first 3 picks, like you said, not overthinking to go on defense. If they can work out, they have a really good nucleus on the defense.
Absolutely. They went from,
and we like
have no pass
we like
rush.
Penix. We like Penix.
Yeah. It's just, again, he had on the field concerns. His motor wasn't always high. He took plays off. Like, that was the story and the reports coming out of Tennessee. But we know when he's on, he can be that. So they have potentially 2 bookend pass rushers, and a safety. They still got, AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell's over there. So the secondary improved, adding Watts, and their pass rush / linebacking core improved. So and who's over there? Coach Morris.
Yep, Ryan Morris. Yep, Ryan Morris.
Coach Morris over there, defensive guy. He was like, we gotta get this right. And it looks like the first 3 picks, that's where they went.
Speaking of getting it right, Crevonte, we love our boy Kyler out in the desert in Arizona, but they need defense, damn it. And they did a great job, I think, not overthinking it. I think Walter Nolan is better than Kenneth Grant, who went before him. Walter Nolan falls to them. They got Josh Sweat in the offseason. We know about the offense. The defense for the Cardinals is going to be key because they beat the 49ers this year twice. They beat the teams in their division. They got to get over their own humps, really. And I think defensively, what do you have? 6.5 sacks last year, 14.5 tackles for loss. I liked them a lot. We did a profile on them, but I mean, the Cardinals, man, if they can hit it right, I think they got some players.
I just think they got to get better on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Walter Nolan can absolutely help that. I thought he was probably DT2 behind Graham. So that's why it was very surprising that Kenneth Grant went before Walter Nolan. But I think that's a easy, hey, that's the best player. That's probably the best player available at that point. So he adds to the interior of the defensive line. So I think that's an improvement as for the defense as a whole. And as long as Kyler Murray, just keep Kyler Murray engaged, you know what I'm saying, at this point. And Harris, and keep him and Marvin Harrison. Hopefully they probably started workouts already, but they have to get on the same page.
Not only that, Crevonte, they get Will Johnson. He falls to him. We heard he may have a knee injury. He falls to him. They get Oregon pass rusher Jordan Birch. And, a part of that national champion defense of Ohio State, Cody Simon. That's a good pick, too. So how about that for the Cardinals going defense heavy? I like what they did there, though. Hopefully it works out.
So they have a Ohio State corner and a Michigan corner. I think that's interesting.
That is very interesting.
But the NFL, they don't give a fuck about that. But
as long as that money clears on Tuesday morning.
Exactly. I really like Will Johnson. I thought Will Johnson was after Travis Hunter. I thought he was the best corner available. He's probably more of a zone guy than a man guy, but obviously his injury is the reason why he failed. So if he can, I don't know if he's going to be ready for training camp, but they're going to have to ease him in. They're absolutely going to have to ease him in. But I think those are 2 great picks at corner between Will Johnson and Walter Nolan.
Let's get to the Bengals because I thought they kind of passed up on Warren Starks. They could have went there, maybe even Mike Green or somebody. They went with Shamar Stewart. Only 4.5 sacks in 3 seasons, Crevonte.
Not a fan. He checks all the boxes physically, and his potential is there, but you're not going to sit here and sell me on 4.5 sacks in 3 years, bro. You can't. Absolutely can't. And I don't think the Bengals will be the best team for him to go to get better at it. And maybe Trey Henderson maybe stays. So he'll probably get a lot of one-on-ones, but I thought he was overhyped, to being completely honest. He checks all the boxes physically and had a great combine. So That's why he shot up draft boards, but not a fan. I thought they had a very underwhelming draft.
I did too, and they had a good amount of picks. Crevonte, they had what 6 picks or something. I know Shamar Stewart could be something, but I didn't want him for the Ravens, so I'm glad he
Me
went to the
either.
Bengals, so we get to see him.
Me Same.
Yes.
I wasn't high on him. Like I see the hype, but I'm like, the production is not there.
Yes. Let's go to a team I think that drafted very well and has drafted well, in my opinion, as well. And now Mike McDonald. They won 10 games last year. They make the playoffs. But the Seattle Seahawks get Gray Zabel, the only non-D1 level school, and then they get your man in the second round. Mike McDonald gets his Kyle Hamilton, Nick Emmanward.
Mm. I think that's solid. That is very, very solid. Again, can't go wrong with getting a guy that's going to improve the trenches. And we like Zabel. Zabel was cool. Because he went to North Dakota, there's always questions about competition, but I think enough guys have come out of North Dakota State that's like, all right, these guys could play. So these guys are pretty good. They could play. Enough of them have come into the NFL and made some noise that, all right, they could probably go to North Dakota State and you still have the ability to make it to the NFL and be competitive. But we liked him. He's going to be guard. He has some versatility, but he's probably going to be a guard at the next level. And my guy, Emmanward, God damn it, I like their secondary just a little bit more now. A couple years ago, they got what's his name? Devin is his first name. The cornerback out of Illinois, I believe.
Devin Witherspoon.
There we go. Him over there now. Emmanward, man, they could get. Remember when Seattle was nice, the secondary was nice. So I'm not saying they're gonna be that, but that's a good place to start.
Then they get Elijah Arroyo out of Tennessee. Miami at tight end, and they get Jalen Milroe as well, Crevonte, and they get Torrey Horton out of Colorado State. So they got some interesting pieces. We might see Milroe maybe even in the future. Who knows?
Maybe
got us maybe a Lamar Jackson.
Maybe. Hey, man, we'll see, man. He has some similarities. Not saying he that, but he got some similarities. And pretty much your quarterback got to be able to move. He got to be able to move and extend plays and create. So he has that. He does have that ability, just being able to hold it in on the professional level.
Yes, sir. Let's keep it pushing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's one thing that we've seen with Tampa over the past few years, Crevonte. They're going to get offense and they're going to get receivers for Baker. And they do it again. Go to Ohio State University, one of the wide receiver universities. Get Emeka Egbuka. Love this pick. Put him with Mike Evans,
Yep.
Chris Godwin. This brother going to do work.
Listen, I like Tampa Bay's roster. That's what I know is I really like Tampa Bay's roster, especially offensively, because they have a really good offensive line. I think that gets overlooked at how good their offensive line is. And they got a future Hall of Famer and Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, if he can stay healthy, and Emeka Egbuka. That's a wild 3-headed monster. And then they have what's the running back's name?
Rashad White.
Like, the offense is set. The offense is absolutely set. And I like their I think the defense is pretty solid. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is aggressive head coach, because he has a defensive coordinator background, but he's gonna get him some guys. You know what I'm saying, to solidify the defense. But the offense is there, man. As long as Baker Mayfield, we've seen him at his worst and at his best, and it seems like, and Cleveland will do that to you. But it seems like Baker Mayfield has found a home, and he's found a place where he can be as effective as he can be on the production side and on the money side.
Yeah, he's settled into that role very nicely with Tampa, and they've won the division the past few years. So
Oh,
let us.
was Morrison? Well, I saw. Was that Benjamin Morrison over there? I saw his list. Oh, did we pass him? So the Bucks got him as well.
Yes, he was on it. Yes,
great.
Yes,
Just upgraded. He went to. Where'd he go? Was it Notre Dame or Penn State? Which way? Where'd he go?
Yes,
He went Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Again, a good player. That was a pretty good defense. As well. We liked him, but I think he got injured. Which is why he fell. So that's a great pickup for their secondary. So I think their offense is completely set and their defense just got better. So they probably have a good shot. It's gonna be between them and the Falcons for the division, but I think the Bucks roster is better.
Speaking of good secondary, not only do you have PS2 Patrick Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year, you go get Jahdae Barron, arguably a top 4 corner, speed out the yin yang sub 4.4. You got 2 corners in a division where you're going to need them.
Yes,
in the AFC West. Can't forget Denver.
Absolutely, great move. I did not see this coming. I thought they were going to go offense. And Omarion Hampton was on the board at running back. But I think this is a great move to help shore up the secondary, because in a division where you have Patrick Mahomes and the Tribal Chiefs that's been dominating the division for the better half of the last decade, you need cover guys. So you have PS2, who's a top tier corner in this league, and Barron, who's I think he has a potential to be a really good outside corner, in your face corner, fast. I think him at CB2 would be pretty good for the Broncos.
They get RJ Harvey out of UCF, so a running back, Savion Jones out of LSU, and Pat Bryant out of Illinois. So I think they had a really sneaky, decent draft, especially if they can hit like they hit last year. They may have some potential there. Crevonte. We're moving right along, guys. We are at the Pittsburgh Steelers, an unfortunate circumstance for their first-round draft pick, Derek Harmon. Hell of a D lineman, but unfortunately, mom passes away, same day gets drafted. The definition of bittersweet. They didn't take a quarterback, Crevonte. They passed on Shedeur multiple times. The Derek Harmon situation, Derek Harmon, and we can kind of get into that draft class a little bit, because they took a quarterback that you know very well, and I'm intrigued to hear what you think about.
Sure. Derek Harmon. Listen, there's some teams that just hang their hat on defense, and this is another one. He adds to their defensive line. They get bigger, and they have to stop the run too. You got to be able to stop the run in the AFC North, because the Ravens are the class of the AFC North, and they run the ball pretty well between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. You got to be able to clog up these gaps, and I think he can really add to a defense that's already pretty much, lit.
Let's get into the draft class, Crevonte, a little bit. Let me pull it up here. They get Harmon, and they draft your guy from the Ohio State, Will Howard, who came in, won the national championship with you guys, played out of his mind. I think he could be a sleeper. They're saying he's a backup at best. But what do you think about Will Howard and the rest of their draft picks? You got Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, and another Ohio State guy, Jack Sawyer, who I love. Maybe their new TJ Watt, because we don't know his future, but I'll pull up their draft picks.
So Jack Sawyer, he's one of those guys he's probably not going to blow you away. Excuse me. He's probably not going to blow you away with his tape as far as like physical ability, but his motor is absolutely there. And he's going to be an edge rusher pretty much. So him and Harmon on that defensive line, you add some youth to the defense while Watt is still there, but also looking towards the future. Caleb Johnson, he was a top tier running back too. He was a part of a really deep running back class. He probably was right behind Junkins. Or Henderson, depending on where you had him. So that's probably like running back 5-ish, somewhere in there. But post Harris, this is a great pickup in Caleb Johnson for the Steelers. And Will Howard, you got him in the 5th round. Sounds like it. You thought you think he's a developmental guy. So he has the opportunity to become, have the opportunity to. Again, he got Mason Rudolph.
I mean, he's better than Mason Rudolph, though, right?
I like to think so.
Right.
I like to think so.
And I mean, he beat Oregon, blew them out. He had to get the ball to those guys. He had to make those plays. And after that Michigan loss, he turned it up. He was a whole different quarterback.
Yeah. So he has the opportunity. Let's see how much opportunity Mike Tomlin gives him in, training camp. But he absolutely has the opportunity to beat out Mason. If this is the this is the quarterback room, he has the opportunity to beat him out.
Well, I think Aaron Rodgers is coming in still. If he does, I mean, you can sit under Rodgers. Like I said, Will Howard can sling that ball, especially if you get him some protection, you get him some weapons, which the Steelers seem to be doing. And how about getting Yaya Black, another name out of Iowa, on the D line? So you pair him with Derek Harmon. You got aging Cam Hayward, who had a career last year, and TJ Watt's still there. I don't think he's going to leave, but if he does, like you said, you got Sawyer. You get your every down back in Caleb Johnson. I think he's going to be the every down Pittsburgh Steelers back. He's going to be what they thought maybe Najee would have been, because I think he's better than Najee even coming out. So Steelers do what they do best, man. They draft well, draft and develop.
And also, you would think this was a team that defense wasn't good because of how many defenders they picked. They develop defenders well, and on the offensive side of the ball, they develop wide receivers well. That's just that they're very, very, very consistent with that. So even when the Ravens and Steelers play, somehow, some way, they're gonna be in all their games. I don't care what the quarterback play is. Somehow, some way, they are in all their games. They're gonna muck the game up. We're gonna cut down on the possessions, and it's gonna end up being a 1-possession game. So it's not the Steelers are just being the Steelers.
Well, speaking of just being who they are, the Chargers, Ravens West, Harbaugh's there, and he was on the board, and I knew they was probably going to get this brother. They got Omarion Hampton. Boy, does he fit right in with the Chargers and what they like to do, run the football, we know. And they still got Najee. We know Justin Herbert, Lad McConkey. I think the Chargers are going to be right in that mix, too, in the AFC West, and Omarion Hampton is going to go a long way to making sure.
Man, I really, really like the Omarion Hampton. I thought he was running back number 2. And he doesn't have to be the bell cow, which is great. He's going to split carries with Harris to preserve both of them. And with their offensive line, Harbaugh, you said it, Ravens West. He gonna run that ball. I tried to tell y'all as soon as Harbaugh was coming, Justin Herbert was going to take a hit. He was going to take a hit on the number side. He ain't going to be throwing no 5,000 yards, you know what I'm saying? Because Harbaugh's going to run the ball, and Herbert's opportunities are going to drop. Not to say that Herbert's nothing wrong with Herbert, because Herbert is a damn good quarterback, but it ain't going to be too many times where he throw the ball 30, 35 times. He ain't going to have 30, 35 attempts because they run the football first. So offensively, the Chargers are in a really good spot. Really good spot.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I love that pick for them. I think he's going to do work. Him and Genty in the same division as well. So funny how these things work out. Let us get to Green Bay, Crevonte. And for the first time in over 20 years, the Green Bay Packers, to the delight of their fans, they take a wide receiver. But not only do they take a receiver, they take maybe the fastest receiver in the draft, Mr. Matthew Golden, 4'3", explosive. Jordan Love needed weapons. We don't know Christian Watson's injury status, but the Texas track team, I like to call them that, they get a weapon for Jordan Love, which he needs.
Oh, man. I did not think, and you said it. You said that, they could take a wide receiver. And I was like, man, ain't no way. They'll never do it. Never.
You would have got booed out that building, Crevonte, at home.
At home. You better. No, but you're right. They were in Green Bay. They better get it right this time. But you add a weapon to Jordan Love's arsenal, which is always good, and a very fast weapon. So add some explosiveness to the offense, so you could be able to compete with the likes of the Lions and the Vikings, who already have top tier wide receivers on their arsenal.
And they doubled up, Crevonte. They get Savion Williams out of TCU, so they go get a big receiver as well. So there you go. They said, well, double your pleasure, double your fun. I think the Packers receiver room, they like to go young, but they go heavy in the first 2 rounds. I think will help them in the long run. That NFC, I mean, it's going to be tough to handicap that NFC North. I mean, I don't know who's going to win it.
No, I don't know either. I don't know either. I feel like the Lions are going to take a step back because they lost both their coordinators. But the team is still intact. I think the Vikings are going to compete. The Bears are going to be significantly better. It's who's going to be last in this division.
Yeah, so I don't know how it's going to play out.
It's going to be interesting, but they're going to beat each other up. So it's going to be fun to see how this unfolds. But watching the NFC North is going to be very entertaining this year.
Yeah, and I had a second pick. They drafted Crevonte 4.8, so he's fast too. So he's a speedster. Savion Williams out of TCU, and he's 6'4", 10 1/4 inch hands, by the way. So he's a big time receiver. I'm looking at with him. Huge. I don't know if he's another Quentin Johnston type, but he's kind of like that big guy, that can do those types of things. But they got receivers for Jordan Love, so showing some love here on
Indeed.
Let's go to the North. Let's keep it in the North with the CJ, AJ, and everybody else that are scolding up in Minnesota. Donovan Jackson, you know him well, Crevonte, another guard, probably the second best guard behind Mr. Booker. Safe pick, but a good pick for the young quarterback, Mr. McCarthy, coming in.
Oh, listen, your guy's already hurt. You know what I'm saying? Your guy of the future is already hurt. So protection is number one. I think protection goes further than weapons in this and in most cases. So get in there, pretty much your offensive guard number 2, and the later part of the first round was a top tier pick for the Vikings.
Let me unmute myself. Then they also go get Ty Felton as well, Crevonte, Maryland receiver, another receiver added to that great receiver room. And they trade for Sam Howell as well.
I saw that. So I don't know. Hopefully JJ McCarthy's healthy. And Sam Howell, I guess, will be backing him up. I don't know who else is in that quarterback room, but pretty much JJ McCarthy is the guy, because Sam Darnold is in Seattle.
That's correct.
So it's at least those two right now. But Vikings, pretty solid. They didn't make too much noise, but I thought it was a great first pick, and we did a profile on Ty Felton. We really like him. He has some potential, and also J Jet is already there, so Ty Felton he'll have his opportunities, to say the least.
Yes, sir. Let us go to, we talked about Jackson Dart. We talked about Malachi Starks. We went over those draft class for the Ravens and the Giants. Let's go to another NFC. We're on the NFC North train right now, Crevonte, because they all kind of pick near each other. So let's go to the Lions here. All right, here we go. They get Tyleek Williams. I didn't really like this pick, Crevonte. I said go get a pass rusher for Aiden Hutchinson to play next to, whether that would have been Azaraku, whether that would have been Mike Green. I didn't really have him high on my list personally, but at least in the first round. I don't know how you felt about the Lions, but we'll look at the rest of their picks too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because I wasn't really high, and also because the Commanders were picking around the same time, so I was just like, don't pick Azaraku, because I thought that's where he would go. I thought that would have been a great spot for Azaraku and Aiden Hutchinson. So I saw that did not happen. So I was like, oh, snap. All right, well, looks like we're going to pick him. Wrong, but whatever. It's fine. I'm over it. But I like their next pick. Rutledge.
Tate Ratledge. Yeah, Tate Ratledge.
Yeah. Yep. from Georgia. The guys know a thing or two about that damn offensive line, and the Lions wanted to continue to add depth and solidify the offensive line, because I do think that's their best unit is their offensive line in Detroit, and they have one of the better offensive lines in the league. So nothing wrong with bolstering that.
We went over the Commanders draft picks as well, but let's go to the Buffalo Bills, Crevonte. I thought they needed to get bigger on defense, get more beef up front. They go Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky, the corner, first pick. Did have the fastest 4.28, and we'll look at the rest of their picks. But what do you think about that there? Did they need a corner? I guess they needed another corner.
Great pick. I think that's a great pick. Along with Trey Amos, I thought had first round grades. I figured they would be picked on the back end of the first round, but I thought they were.
Are you being drafted, Crevonte? Are you being called to be drafted? Is that the call to be drafted? I think that was the call. We finally got it. We got the call. He is being drafted finally. It's all right. We'll take that call. It's okay. It's all right. Live television, folks. Live television.
Live right now. Be like, hey, hello, Commanders. Hi,
Adam Peters.
It's Adam Peters. But what I was about to say. Oh, so Maxwell Harrison, great corner, in your face guy, fast guy, and tough. Great pick for the Buffalo Bills. Probably more of a best player available at that time. So being able to bolster the secondary was good in that sense. Landon Jackson,
man, that was a good pick. Good for them.
That's more toughness. Another guy whose motor is there. His motor is absolutely going to be there. So I think the Bills are going to win the division again. You're trying to get with the Ravens now. You're just preparing for the Ravens at this point.
I mean, because they beat the Ravens, so
you know what I'm saying. But yes, but they're not going away. Yeah. Like you just preparing like the Chiefs and the Ravens. That's who the Bills are, essentially preparing for. But yeah, I think they was quiet. They was quiet for the most part. But I love Harrison and I love Landon Jackson.
And TJ Sanders also was a really good D tackle, played with Emmett Worry. I think that South Carolina team started to get together at the end. A little too late, they didn't make the playoffs, but they had a solid defense. And Caden Prather, another Maryland guy. So a lot of Maryland guys getting drafted. It's always good to see that as well. So the Bengals, like you said, or the Bills rather, are just doing what they need to do to kind of just stay in that mix. We know they're going to be there in playoffs in January. Mm-hmm. I think they have the most wins over the last few years without a Super Bowl appearance. I think the stat was watching the draft.
Yes.
So, there you go.
Not a stat you want to be a part of, but yes.
Yes. Let's get to the Philadelphia Eagles, Crevonte, because they traded up with the Chiefs. It's funny how the two teams in the Super Bowl traded with each other and it ended up being just for a fifth. They get Jahad Campbell, who I loved. I wouldn't be mad if the Ravens took him. They said he was the top 10 player on their board. He falls to them yet again. And they got another couple guys that fell to him, per usual. Jahad Campbell, welcome to the NFC East, where Crevonte has to see you twice a year.
Jesus Christ.
With all the other guys that got drafted that we like as well.
I would not have been mad if the Commanders picked him at 29, because that could possibly be Bobby Wagner's replacement. But I think he's a top 10 prospect. He failed. I think he had a rotator cuff surgery or shoulder surgery or something like that. He had some type of injury that kind of popped out. But he is a top 10 talent. And he played for Alabama. So, he knows a thing or two about football, playing in a SEC. So, great. He's in Philadelphia now. Great. I'm so thrilled about it.
Real quick, I want to get into, because we are nearing the end here, and I know Crevonte's got calls. Let's get to that draft class real quick here. Let me take a look at that. I just had it up. Let me pull it up. As you see, Mr. Campbell. So they get Jahad Campbell. They get Andrew Mukbua out of Texas. He was a starter on that team, I believe, as well. They get Ty Robinson out of Nebraska, Mac Williams out of Central Florida, Samuel Mondin out of Georgia, Drew Kendall, Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, former Ohio State quarterback, and then Antoine Powell-Rowland in the 7th round of Virginia Tech. I mean, they got a lot of guys who might come in and still contribute to another team and I just get this feeling, Crevonte. They look like they could go back to back.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sucks to say that as a Commanders fan, but they are the class of the NFC. And it's just what and they lost quite a bit of people. But with Howie, you know what I'm saying, at the helm, they're never gonna be too far behind. Like they're gonna get right. Like Andrew is probably gonna contribute sooner rather than later. Campbell is definitely gonna contribute. And Ty Robinson, I think all those guys are going to contribute right now. You know what I'm saying? So this is a great pick. And for them to I think they only had the first and second. I don't think they had a third round pick.
Yep, a 1, a 2, and they didn't pick again until 4, 3 5s, 3, 4 6s. So
not bad. Not bad at all. The Eagles are doing what the Eagles do very, very well. Draft very, very well. Damn it.
Yes. Last but not least, the Tribal Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, ended up at 32, and they get I think a steal as well. We know what happened in the Super Bowl. The offensive line was terrible, and they get Josh Simmons. We know he was injured, Crevonte, on your Ohio State team, but when he played, he was as good as anybody, and he can play pretty much anywhere on the line. Really, you know what I mean? Versatility.
I think he made his most noise and most money at tackle. He's probably going to be left tackle once he's is done rehab and he's ready to come back. Because of that injury, he could have been a top 10. Like he definitely had the ability to be a top 10 prospect. He could have been up there with Will Campbell and Armand Amembu. But unfortunately, injuries happen, and he fell. But him falling, he falls to the back-to-back, almost three-peated champions. And they need him in the worst way. So I think he's going to solidify the left side of that team. Or no, who's that left tackle now?
They got the backup from 49ers who was under Trent Williams. Let me see.
Oh, snap. That just happened, right? That just happened. Yep. So, shoot, Simmons might mess around and play right tackle. I don't know.
Yeah.
So look at they got
it is Jalen Moore.
So he was in the Super Bowl. No. He's coming from 49ers. So
they got Jalen Moore. They had Jalen Moore, Jawan Taylor, Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey. Remember Joe Indo in their current.
Yeah. They got
Taylor to guard and Smith to the other guard.
Possibly. Simmons has versatility, so either right tackle or left tackle for Simmons, and you bring in Moore. He was backing up Trent Williams, so he could play left tackle. I mean, you have Book and just figure out where they go. I think they're both your tackles of the future. Just who's going to play left, who's going to play right.
And Jalen Royals, we know Mahomes always finds a receiver that he can mold. Jalen Royals, 6 foot, runs a 4.4. Just remember that. So you want a guy to take top off the defense. He can get open. He's a producer.
Oh, they have another one. Oh, joy.
Yes. So, yes, they found him in the 4th round. And, Brashad Smith out of SMU, pretty good as well. I believe he's more like a versatile running back who can catch as well. So, another weapon for Mahomes. We know they needed to get better at the running back position as well. So, So, there you go. Another thing for the Chiefs to work with as well. I believe he ran, let me just get this real quick. He ran 4.39, by the way. I knew he was fast. I just wanted 4.39. So there you
go. Dang. Well, yep. Sometimes the rich get richer, especially on the back end of that first round. People, I'm getting prank calls. Mark Wild.
Oh man, yeah. I've been I kept this brother for over 2 hours. We went through every pick. We talked about each team. We talked about each scenario, trades, reaches, loved picks, projections.
So before we go, if we go over because I didn't give an actual grade for each one, but if we're gonna do winners and losers, Saints, Dolphins, Bengals. That's who I'm coming off the top of my head first. I would say Jags, but they got Travis Hunter, so they can't be a loser for that. If there's a goofy section, I think the Giants should probably go in the goofier section. Winners, the Browns before they got goofy later. At least we talking first round. The Browns are winners, but the Ravens were winners. I think the Commanders will probably be in the middle. I think they would lean. I would lean winners. I think the Eagles got dogged are winners. Colts are winners. I think the Falcons with their two their back-to-back defenders are winners as well. So yeah, I think everybody's probably mid, at least off the top of my head.
Cowboys. I like the Cowboys and Raiders.
Cowboys. I tried to forget about them, and you reminded me. I tried to forget them.
That's what I'm here for.
Damn Cowboys did. They did really well. But Colts. Oh yeah, shout out Mark. Yeah, the Colts. Tyler Warner was always the pick. He was always the pick.
Another Sunday, Crevonte.
49ers had a good pick too. 49ers had a good one too. Yeah. But yeah, man. I'm glad we was able to do this. We did this for months. We had been doing this for months, and now it's over. Now we get back to the regular grind, I guess.
Yeah, Sundays, Crevonte, and every day, let people know what they need to do if they're watching this, how to keep up with us, and some of the content we do here on the channel, and like we did for the draft.
Like, subscribe. You go back, and even though the draft is over, go take a look at, continue to look at our profiles. Hit the bell for notifications because we got content on top of content on top of content on top of content. You are going to find something you like. If you're a sports guy, sports gal, you are going to find something you like. I guarantee it. And hit that bell for notifications to be notified for when all of our lavish videos drop.
Yes, if we could, please, it costs you nothing. Hit that thumbs up. It lets YouTube know, it gets to the algorithm, let YouTube know that, hey, push out the content from this channel, from these guys, talking about the Ravens, talking about the Commanders, talking about the draft, talking about everything that they do. We want more people, more eyes, and we appreciate each one of you spending your Sunday with us. We pretty much do this during the off season, but we're here, like Crevonte said, each and every day. We got content galore, watch-alongs, live streams, all that fun stuff as well. So I think that's pretty much all we got. Crevonte, draft is in the books, in the rear view. Before you know, we'll be talking about 2026. But now, Crevonte, we know also schedule released May 14th. So that's coming up as well.
All right, well, that's the next thing. Try to figure out. We already pretty much know the team that we're going to play. We just don't know when, which is also important to trying to figure out the overs and unders. I've been looking at some bets, but I'm like, I need to know when we play this team. Because playing the team in September versus December is totally different. Home, away, these things matter. So May 14th, that'll be the next big, breakthrough that we will cover.
We'll be here for Crevonte and everybody in the chat. We've been here for over 2 hours. Went over every pick. Appreciate you being here. Only place Crevonte giving you sports how you want it,
when you need it.
We'll be back next week with more. We'll be back tomorrow with the flagship podcast. We got Monday Night Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown, and all the other content in between. We'll get Raj and Dre's thoughts on the draft, Ravens, and other notes. Of course, Shedeur talked about it at the beginning as well. For Crevonte, the senior producer and co-founder, Commandalorian, and captain of the Goofy Ship. Any final words, Crevonte, before we get out of here?
Interesting draft. I think the Ravens and the Commanders both got better. And I'm hoping this could be a normal thing of us picking in the high 20s. Maybe even 30, 31, 32, who knows? But it was fun. I love this time of the year. I'll do it again and again and again. But appreciate you being down for the ride, Byron. It was a blast. I hate that it's over.
Likewise, brother. We got more coming because we're going to be doing this for the NBA. Got some players to look at there. So the
boy.
NBA draft will be here soon. So a couple of big prospects. We'll get to that. Stay tuned for that as well. For Crevonte, yours truly, God's favorite host. Happy Sunday. We're out of here. Got playoff basketball, got baseball, got NHL hockey. So much content. As like we said, the schedule will be live for that May 14th, I'm sure, as well. So for Crevonte, everybody in the chat, thank you for watching. Everybody on X and on YouTube. We gone, y'all. Only place, Crevonte, give you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
Good night, everybody, or good afternoon. We'll see you later. See you tomorrow on the Flex Zone. Peace. Thank you for watching.